Imagine a man trailer, inside rations to sustain 5 men for a year, entirely untouched. Instead of eating, they faded away. Outside, a harsh winter storm raged. Inside, warmth was just a struck match away, yet no fire was ever lit. 5 young men walked away from a perfectly safe vehicle, stepping directly into the absolute unknown. Welcome to the American Dyatlov Pass. I've reviewed these case files 100 times. The Yuba County Five, a sequence of events that defies all human logic. It was February 24th, 1978. 5 friends from Yuba City, California. They were known as the Gateway Gators, an amateur basketball team. They piled into a 1969 Mercury Montego, heading to Chico State for a college basketball game. High spirits, a routine road trip. The game ended late. They stopped for snacks at a local market, hostess pies, soda, a simple celebration, before heading home. To get back to Yuba City, they just needed to drive straight south on the highway, a direct, completely unchallenging route. But they never went south. Instead, the car turned east, up into the rugged, unforgiving terrain of the Plumas National Forest. This wasn't a slight detour. They drove 70 miles off their planned course, climbing in elevation until they hit the snow line. Days later, authorities found their Mercury Montego abandoned on a desolate dirt road. The windows were rolled down, the doors unlocked. When the police examined the car, the confusion only deepened. The vehicle wasn't broken. It wasn't even truly stuck in the snow. 5 men could have easily pushed the car out of the small rut it was resting in. Furthermore, it had plenty of gas. Yet the keys were missing. Someone had intentionally turned off the engine, pocketed the keys, and led the group into the dark. They wore light jackets, low-top sneakers, completely unprepared for the freezing mountain weather. Why leave the safety of a functional car? To find answers, we must look at a witness, a man named 𝗘𝗫𝗄𝗃, who was stranded on that very same road. 𝗘𝗫𝗄𝗃 was suffering a mild heart attack in his own vehicle, just a few hundred yards away from the Montego. He watched and waited. Around midnight, 𝗘𝗫𝗄𝗃 saw headlights pull up behind him. He stepped out, calling for help. But the lights suddenly went dark. He claimed he saw silhouettes, a group of men, and perhaps a woman holding a baby, walking quietly into the tree line. When 𝗘𝗫𝗄𝗃 yelled out to them, the voices stopped abruptly. The woods fell completely silent. They ignored him, vanished. 𝗘𝗫𝗄𝗃 also reported seeing a dark pickup truck parked nearby, which briefly turned its lights on before fading down the mountain. Some investigators dismissed 𝗘𝗫𝗄𝗃's account, citing extreme physical stress. But if he was right, who else was on that mountain? Leaving the car behind, the 5 men began to walk, not down the mountain towards safety, but further up, deeper into the wilderness. They hiked for incredibly grueling miles through waist-deep snow, a physical feat that seasoned survivalists would find nearly impossible. Especially considering 𝗘𝗫𝗍𝗍𝗂. One of the 5 suffered from a condition that required daily medication, a medication he didn't have. Nearly 20 miles up the road, they found a U.S. Forest Service trailer, a potential sanctuary against the freezing wind. Someone broke a window to get inside. It offered shelter, it offered life, but what happened inside is the true enigma. Months later, when the snow finally melted, searchers found the trailer. The truth they uncovered inside was absolutely baffling. The trailer was stocked with sea rations, enough dried food to feed all 5 men for an entire year, yet they barely opened any. Outside the trailer was a massive propane tank. To turn on the heat, someone just had to turn the outside valve. Nobody did. Inside, a stash of matches, paperback books, and wooden furniture. Plenty of kindling to build a fire. Not a single spark was made. 𝗘𝗫𝗍𝗧𝗔𝗜𝗍𝗄, the only one found inside the trailer, was wrapped in multiple blankets. He had lost half his body weight. He survived for perhaps weeks in that cabin, with untouched food surrounding him. What kept him from eating? What kept him frozen? The items inside suggested someone else had been there. 𝗘𝗫𝗍𝗧𝗔𝗜𝗍𝗄's sneakers were found inside, but his boots were missing. The spring thaw revealed the remains of the others scattered miles away from the trailer, lost to the brutal elements. But 𝗘𝗫𝗍𝗧𝗔𝗜𝗍𝗄, the man who left his sneakers in the trailer, vanished entirely. No trace of him has ever been found. Was he the one who walked away with the boots? Did he attempt a final, desperate hike for help? We may never know. The families were left with profound questions. Why drive up that specific mountain road? Who were they hiding from? Some theorists suggest they were chased, that another vehicle, perhaps the dark pickup truck Sean saw, forced them up the mountain. It would explain why they left the car immediately. It would explain the frantic, brutal hike in the dark. Fear is a powerful motivator. Others believe a simple wrong turn led to a cascading panic, disorientation in the deep snow, compounded by darkness. Yet that doesn't explain the trailer. It doesn't explain choosing to freeze when matches and propane were within arm's reach. Were they afraid to light a fire? Did they think a fire would draw attention? Were they hiding from something in the woods? Or was it a tragic psychological event, a shared delusion, triggered by extreme cold and deep, unyielding fatigue? The untouched food, the unlit fire, the abandoned car, the missing man, the evidence contradicts itself at every turn. Plumas National Forest holds onto its secrets tightly. The towering pines stand as silent witnesses to that fateful February night. For decades, law enforcement chased down every lead, every sighting of 𝗘𝗫𝗍𝗧𝗔𝗜𝗍𝗄, every whispered rumor in Yuba City. But the trail remains forever cold. The Gateway Gators simply played their game, drove into the night, and slipped away from reality. As an investigator, you learn to look for patterns. Human behavior generally follows a logical path of survival. But here, the instinct to survive was seemingly paused, replaced by a silent, inexplicable surrender to the mountain. The American Dyatlov Pass will likely remain unsolved, a permanent fixture in the archives of the unexplainable. We are left only with the haunting image of that trailer and the 5 friends who walked together into the dark. May they find peace out there, wherever the truth finally rests, because down here, we are still searching. Keep your eyes open and trust nothing. I'm Investigator Elias Thorne, signing off